Right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Hello and welcome to Two Hairy Men in a Mercedes. Is that what we're calling our channel?
That would be a great sitcom though.
I lost a bet. What happened to you?
I just like having a beard.
Right. No, what this is about, of course, is the M111 engine.
Yes.
Which up to this morning, I didn't know anything about. Because it's not my cup of tea. I respect it infinitely. You're the biggest fan.
I love them. I'm
Ever
obsessed with them. I
of
think they are the greatest things ever built.
M111 engine. So I did some research this morning after some like budgeting and adulting. But I did play Fallout 4. What I thought we'd do, same as before, we'll run through the specs and the models that came in, pros and cons, there aren't any, and I'll use these as triggers for you. So I'll give you some specs and you can elaborate. How's that?
We can, and obviously you can give your 2 cents as well.
Yes,
every now and
my
then.
very limited knowledge of
That's
the
fine.
M111 engine. So, obviously it's an inline straight 4, or inline or straight 4 cylinder petrol engine from Mercedes-Benz, made from 1992 to about 2003. That's off Wikipedia, it's not always true.
No,
But
not always.
Roughly early 90s to early 2000s. Cast iron block, aluminium or alloy cylinder head, double overhead cam 16 valve. All of them had 4 valves per cylinder.
Yes.
Correct? Right. Now, fuel injected, but some are naturally aspirated and some are supercharged. It is the legendary compressor engine from the late 90s, basically.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, we are in a beautiful C200, a facelift 202 with this engine.
Yes.
Naturally aspirated version. There are many, many different types of this engine. Let's cut to some beauty shots and tell you something about this car. When did you get it?
I bought this car 8 years ago. So I bought it in 2014. I was working as a salesperson, or as the new title would be, a second-hand vehicle sales executive. If you have a LinkedIn profile, that's what you actually should put on. And the dealership I was working at had a very good relationship with a local Mercedes-Benz dealer that you are also familiar with.
Yes, the local guys, yeah.
And this was a trade-in, and we bought it in the trade, and my employer at that stage twisted my arm to buy it. He gave it to me for a week, and then after a week I said, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy it. And now it's 8 years later, and it's my daily. Just like Honey over here, I have more than one Mercedes-Benz because it's an illness, but I am in no mood of finding a cure. But this is my daily. I use it to go to work, I use it to go grocery shopping once a month, I use it to go on holiday.
Yeah.
It was Old Faithful on our honeymoon. We used this to go on our 2-week honeymoon. It was quite a few long distance trips in the honeymoon.
What's the mileage?
250,633 kilometers.
Wonderful. Automatic?
Yes.
5-speed?
Yes. So 722.6.
By the way, for international viewers, we in Southern Africa still, back then, but nowadays still, we get pretty much pre-tuned models. So our W202s were fairly high spec. They all had air conditioning. I only recently learned that you could get them without air conditioning. Some of the base models had cloth seats, but most of them had leather seats, like this one, in grey or beige. And then the compressors, the 230 compressor, had black.
Yes, but they also had vinyl seats. So a very good friend of mine and
vinyl seats?
Yes. So a very good friend of mine and someone you also know.
Yeah.
Has a 1998 Mercedes-Benz C180 Classic.
Oh, good. That's also an M111. So we're not off topic.
No, we are not off topic.
C180.
Yes, and he has grey vinyl seats, not leather.
MB Tex.
Yes, so I know if you want to be fancy, you can call it MB Tex, but
okay,
it's vinyl. Really nice vinyl, and ages really well, but it's still vinyl.
Cool. So thank you for the introduction to your car. Getting back to that engine, I think we said yes, straight 4 petrol engine. Excuse me. 92 to 2003. Cast iron block, aluminium cylinder head, fuel injected, water cooled, longitudinally or north-south mounted. They came in the following capacities: 1.8,
yes,
2 liter,
yes,
2.2,
yes,
2.3,
yes.
And how's this for geeking out? Because we love this. If Wikipedia is correct, the sizes, because the bore and stroke changed the whole time, and someone said it's an over square engine, but the bore actually became bigger than the stroke on the later ones. Anyway, the sizes of it in cubic centimeters is 1799, 1998, 2199 and 2295. So
very close to actually
darn
being a
close
round
to
number.
the actual round number, unlike some of the 4.3s and 6.2s and all of that.
Yes.
That just about made it. Right. Power outputs, there were many different ones. The weakest one, which would have been a 180 non-compressor,
Yes.
is 90 kilowatts.
Yes.
Which is actually not bad.
It's decent. It's
They're fairly heavy cars, but 90 kilowatts, you can do something. Because that's 130 horsepower, 120, 130.
Yeah, the car comes in, a W202 comes in at about 1,345 kilograms. So yes, it is still a 1.4 ton car.
Yes.
But 90 kilowatt in a C180 is more than sufficient for what it needs
Not
to
going to
do.
win many races, but
No.
it's sufficient.
My C200 has 100 kilowatt.
Yes. 100. Then the 220s, the 230s. Although the modern 200 was fairly similar to the older 220. So the bottom end was 90 kilowatts and 170 newton meters, which is also respectable. The top end, the 230 compressor and Evo engine and all of that they call it, is 145 kilowatts.
441.
Yeah. And 280 newton meters.
Yes.
Which I remember I had a pre-facelift C280 straight six, the M104.
Yes.
And that had less newton meters than the compressor engine did.
Because if you take into account, I also have a 1998 Mercedes-Benz SLK 230 compressor. So
Also
M111 2.3 with the centrifugal supercharger.
You do love this engine. Don't you?
I am obsessed with this engine.
Ask me about the 113. No, actually that's a video for.
That's a video for that.
Yeah, so bore and stroke and compression ratios varied with all the different sizes and applications. Most of them do 6,000 RPM. No, yours does 6,200 on the
Yes.
tachometer. I know that the compressor ones, like your SLK, did 5,800. Because of the forced induction, they reduced the RPM range and the rev limiter, I suppose. Some of them had Bosch HFM or HFM, hot film mass something or other, or Siemens PEC, which is the politically correct term, because it's actually supposed to be PMS. That's the management system of the engines. And then it gets really technical, and I'm not a technically minded person. I barely know how an engine works. Don't ask me to fix it. Some of them had two coils. The injectors fire in pairs with a magnetized sensor on the flywheel that tells it which coil pack to and then so I have no idea actually. I don't think we're going to go into that
but
depth.
here's an interesting little fact. The valve timing on this car works on the same basis as a VTEC engine from a Honda. So the cams actually change.
It's a double overhead cam engine,
Yeah. But for example, with a VTEC you have variable valve timing, which means obviously
at some point it changes the angle and there's another gear that
yes.
Okay.
And M111 engines have that as well.
Oh.
Because I'm now getting really anorak and nerdy here, so
I
bear
didn't
with
know
me.
this.
So the cool thing is it's basically a VTEC. Yes, it does not rev to 8,000, 9,000 revolutions per minute, but it does work on the VTEC basis that with
variable valve time.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, one of the cool reasons for that is if you have a facelift, you have an electronically controlled gearbox. If you have a pre-facelift, it's vacuum operated.
Yes.
Where in a facelift, it is electronically operated. This gearbox has something referred to as an electroplate.
Yes, they like breaking or getting corroded or
Yes.
having issues. 72216.
Yes. So what happens is the gearbox learns how you drive.
Yes.
And it works in sync, obviously, with the engine and the valve timing and
Controlling
everything.
it.
Yes. So, for example, I drive like an old man. I love short shifting. I'm one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm usually in fifth gear by 60 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
On the automatic gearbox.
And what sort of fuel economy do you get? Or fuel mileage or fuel consumption?
At 120.
Yes.
And fifth gear, obviously, because it's an auto box. The best I have gotten is, believe it or not, 13.7 kilometers to a litre.
13.7 1.7 k's per litre. That's very good. I'll work in the litres per 100 and miles per gallon on the screen here, somewhere there or here. That's very impressive.
It's very, very
And
impressive.
around town,
I've never
traffic.
dropped below 10, ever.
10 is good.
I've never dropped below 10 on an urban cycle.
Oh.
Not once.
Excellent. That's already a pro. Just to finish off the history or the introduction of the engine, it debuted in the W124, the old E-Class.
Yes.
In an E200, and it is apparently slightly related to the 102.
It
which,
is.
Which
It
was
is.
the 4-cylinder before it.
Of which I also have 2 Mercedes that have those engines.
Ah.
I'm a-
Yes, you do. Yeah, the 200 and...
A 230E.
Ah, gotcha.
And then I've got a 200 and SRK 230. I love Mercedes-Benz 4-cylinders before the year 2000.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yeah, 271 is a swear word.
yes, it is to me.
Yeah, okay.
There's no greater insult than
Then
telling me.
M271.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I've got some models, but while we were talking about fuel consumption, that's one of the advantages. It's a typical 4-cylinder engine in that it has a great power to weight ratio. The size and packaging is perfect for modern cars, or even back then. I mean, this car's now 20 years old. Right?
This one's 24 years
24,
old.
thank you. The cost of building them and maintaining them. It's the 4-cylinder is a very popular engine because of all those advantages. It's a nicely balanced package, and unless you're in a herring hurry or you want a high revving VTEC or something, performance is fairly good. And
I'm happy with the
the
performance.
top speed of this car is 200 and something, isn't it?
This car's 210, and
Yeah.
I have once at an
That's
undisclosed.
120 miles an hour, 130
Oh.
almost.
Yeah, almost 130 miles per
That's
hour.
very good.
I have done 200. No, sorry, it's 215. It's
Yes.
215 kilometers per hour.
Yes.
I have actually reached that speed at an undisclosed area at an
in
undisclosed
a
time.
neighboring country.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Actually, I did in a neighboring country. I maxed out my C280, and at that point, I was being overtaken by a C320. It's one of
as,
those
as things happen.
hilarious anecdotes.
Yeah.
Pin the needle to the wherever it was, and meow.
Yeah, it does 215. It does get there. It does take a bit of a while.
Yes.
From 190, that last 25 kilometers per hour
They
took
take a while,
But
yeah.
I've only done it once because in general I like
Yes.
cruising. So
And the really, really, really big advantage of an M111 is
they don't break.
reliability. They can do hundreds of thousands of kilometers and miles if you look after them. If you abuse them or neglect them, like any Mercedes engine or any other engine, they will let you down.
To put it in perspective, I have a long-term plan of one day opening a business where I can service, restore, and resell classic and older Mercedes-Benz
I know
models.
you've told me.
Yes.
Okay, you haven't told them.
No, it's
have now.
my long-term goal.
Yes. I'm quite excited about that.
And the one thing is, the friend of mine that wants to co-own this business with me, we've always said we would like to have a coffee table made from an engine block.
Yes.
Thanks to Jeremy Clarkson in that episode where he
all
took
those
the
car shows. Yes.
yeah, where he took the Porsche 928 engine and made it into a coffee table. And then this friend of mine also loves the M111 as much as I do. So we've always said we would like to make a coffee table for my M111. The problem is they don't break. We'll never find a broken one.
I've got exactly the same problem because, as you know, I've got a C43
Yes.
with black leather interior. Well, Panda, it's black leather. So I'm thinking, why don't I get a donor car? Because we'll do that in a podcast. You know, parts are getting a little.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a broken C230 compressor.
Not gonna happen.
Not going to happen. I've seen them with 450,000 kilometers running for very good money. I'm not going to do that, and I can't break that car. It would break my heart. So yes, reliability. Eh?
Thing is, I've always told someone, go onto Facebook Marketplace, and if you look watching abroad, Craigslist and Gumtree, which is also in Australia and the UK.
And UK, yes. Gumtree. Classifieds.
Yeah.
Go on
Go
classifieds.
look for a Mercedes-Benz with an M111 engine.
So
You will find them. They will be rusted. They will be broken. They will
180, 200 and 230 or 220 as well, yeah.
the glass will be out. The seats will be torn. The roof lining will be missing. None of the electrics work. The engine and the gearbox will work. The engine
Yes.
and the gearbox will keep on
They
ticking.
will not die. Which brings me to the next negative, which is actually not about the engine. It's the wiring loom. Has nothing to do with the engine.
Aha!
It's the cars. The 210s and the 202s have a biodegradable covering over the harness, over the cables and the wires. And if that eventually deteriorates, because it will, then your engine starts acting up.
Yes.
But it's not the engine's fault, it's the electronics in the car.
I actually need to clarify.
Yeah.
On pre-facelift 202 Mercedes C-Class models.
Early 90s, yes.
Yes.
And late 124s.
Yes.
Or
But
sort
on
of
the
B-series
facelift,
ones.
such as I have, they fixed that.
Yes. The later ones, you're actually quite right. On the later ones, they
They
fixed
did away with it.
those issues. And then another one, the original head gaskets on early models, which were apparently also used in the 104 engine, they just failed. They went brittle or they started leaking. So the head gaskets actually went on these cars. But that's a fairly cheap fix.
Yeah.
Isn't
I'm
it?
going to be honest, I've not come across one.
No, that was, I think, very early on.
The thing is, a head gasket on an M111 engine it's surprisingly cheap.
Yeah, there's only one head. You can pretty much access it from the top. The motor doesn't have to come out.
Nope.
Nope.
You can get to everything from the top. So basically you take off the air cleaner, the tappet cover, and then you get to the head.
And that, ladies and gentle people, is basically the pros and cons. It is such a simple but wonderful engine. You agree?
I think
You think it's the best engine ever?
I honestly think when it comes to a petrol-powered internal combustion engine, there is nothing better than the M111. There are definitely engines that sound better. There are definitely engines that
the
perform better.
supercharger is not the best sounding engine. Do the superchargers go wrong? No, they don't.
No, they
Do they have
don't.
gaskets or boost problems? No,
Nope.
they don't. They just go on and on and
They
on.
go forever. They go forever.
And if you modify them, if you put a smaller pulley or more boost, does the engine handle it? It does.
Engine
because
handles it.
It's a cast iron block.
and
it
the
can
fact-
handle boost.
and it's still a centrifugal supercharger. You're still running off a pulley, so
Yes.
there's only so much speed you can get out from the crank pulley.
Yeah.
To start off. Seeing as it is still running, we can clip this in somehow.
Yes.
I do also still think an M111 engine Mercedes-Benz is a very, very good entry point for someone who wants to buy a slightly older Mercedes-Benz just to get into.
Or as you also saw, as a first car for your kid,
Yeah.
for your child at university.
I don't know if I would buy my child. Okay, Mercedes-Benz is their first car because
No.
I've seen what students do to cars.
Actually, that's a valid concern, yes.
A nice 202 is like getting rare.
Yeah. While we're still running, what's the highest mileage 111 you've ever seen?
Personally,
Yes.
800,000 kilometers.
I think I've seen 400-500, but I haven't seen 800.
I've seen 800,000.
Wow. Okay.
There's another 202.
Yeah, lovely.
Alright, we are doing a gentle acceleration shot because I don't really bugger it.
Yeah, that's not bad. This is uphill. And I weigh many kilograms.
And for a very silent four-cylinder, it doesn't sound like a hairdryer.
And the turbo diesel Ford pickup is only catching us now.
Yes.
He's about to run into the rental, not the beep.
Yeah.
Absolutely sufficient performance.
It does
Yeah.
what it needs to do.
I'm still recording. What's the ultimate 111 and the one you find least desirable?
The ultimate 111. This is going to be
202?
very. And what body it came? What series?
Which one is your ultimate 111 engine? Is it the compressor? Is it the naturally aspirated one?
I'm going to actually say the C200.
This
The one I actually own, and it's not purely because I own it.
Okay.
It has enough power and torque for
Yes.
what you need to do with it.
I wouldn't argue with that. It's not a biased opinion or anything.
Need to do the fuel consumption is very, very good for what it is.
And the cars they come in are fairly sturdy as well. No air suspension, no turbos, no double clutches.
No.
Fairly basic, but ABS and air conditioning.
Yeah, and
you can
power
do-
and traction control.
Yeah, you can do in the facelift.
Yes.
You can do Bluetooth upgrade or whatever later. Did you know that the rarest 208 CLK is a convertible 200 compressor, I think?
That'd be
Or
quite
something
cool
like
to
that,
own,
which we
actually.
never got. This is my house.
Yes.
Who's got
No,
the key?
honey, no, I really enjoy just pulling up into random people's driveways
Yes.
going, honey, I'm home.
Hello, meep meep. See what happens. Least favorite one, probably like a E230. But do you know what? It's because I've never seen a nice E230. They're all ragged. They're still driving, but they are
I'm
done.
actually going to, even though I had one,
Yeah.
and I really refurbished it really well, and I resold it, and I went to a good home, and the profit was decent.
Yes.
220E.
220E.
124
is the least desirable one.
for me personally.
But I like it because it's a unicorn thing. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this mini vlog of the M111 engine.
30-year anniversary.
Yes. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, comments, please in the comment section below.
And like, share, subscribe, and donate.
All your homies. Thank you for watching.
All right.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
What's his name?
Tigger. That's why no one has ever broken into any car I've ever owned.
Ah. Of course, yeah, it's Tigger. My apologies.